Hey everyone, this is Acytone and James J, and you're listening to episode 1 of the Indie Bubble Talks, only on the Indie Bubble. And today we're taking a closer look at Kaleidoscope Records.
The sticks and stones, they may break my bones, but your words will never hurt me. They can never penetrate my soul, cause I know they're not worthy. Only thing that can hurt.
Community.
Way more content than Clark Kent, more super. Wrote this verse down, I-95 in the Uber.
Talent.
I'm exhausted, cleaning out the exhaustion. These cats walk and talk like they your fit. Fuck these out-of-towners, son, like they Boston. Like got me coughing, flowing like creeks and Dawson's.
And, of course, some good old Kush.
And when you step in, please don't act too surprised. We treat papers and grabber like it's school supplies. Crushes and filters, y'all need it, then my crew provides. But don't steal the lighters, cause that equals suicide.
That's what Smokehouse is all about. Here to talk with me about the collective is James J, host of Indie Interludes.
I'm James J, host of Indie Interludes, where in every episode we converse with our particular guests. This week, of course, Kaleidoscope Records and Grandmaster Shogun. And we just talk about their music, talk about their drive, how they got their name, who they're composed of, and just what makes them them and what makes them indie as opposed to mainstream.
You know, I'm actually pretty excited to talk about these guys. Actually, right before I sat down to test all the audio stuff, I listened through the full album like 3 times. And of course, because you have to, a little bit of smoking to get into the vibe. But I thoroughly enjoyed every single song. I really like that, specifically out of New York lately, there's been more of a classical hip-hop flow in the last couple years.
I think what I take away from the interview and listening to the album is that it's more than just getting into a studio and just saying whatever's on your mind. You know, these guys want to be disciplined. They want to be organized. They want their music to mean something, and they want to be united. The collective is a big thing. And all throughout the album, you'll hear different voices, different elements, and they want not just one guy just throwing some bars down. They want all different types of people and all different types of experiences coming together to form a great collective of, as he said it, Acytone, great hip-hop music.
And you're absolutely right about the collective, too. One of my favorite things out of all the songs, including off of the album, I checked some more out on YouTube, has to be that the different people bring their own styles to the table. You know, it's not like you said, where they're all doing the same sound or whatever. Some people sing a bit more, some people have more melodic tendencies, some people have more ad-libs, and it all comes together in layers like a cake.
Then you add on in those layers things like clips from movies, like Ferris Bueller's Days Off is in there, and slot machine sounds, casino sounds going in there. So it's really interesting how that all came together with the different voices.
And of course, we also have the funny references as well. I caught 1 or 2 anime references. I know there was some sports ones, Johnny Depp as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Viper Room or the Viper Lounge.
But I wanted to ask, in your own words, since you handled the interview process with Grandmaster Shogun, how would you best describe what Kaleidoscope Records is trying to achieve? Of course, there's the togetherness and stuff, but I feel like there's a bit of a deeper goal there as well.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, just kind of more positivity, everything fresh, new, trying to pull lines from the Smokehouse intro, lines that stood out to me, just bringing people together. They want this collective not only to service them, but to spark other collectives around the country. And they really want to test themselves. They want to try new things. They want to be the best that they can be. They don't want to just settle for, as I mentioned earlier, getting into a studio and enjoying some substances, if you will, and coming up with some music. So there's also some messages of hope. If we look at the song Smokehouse Gospel off the album, there's a lot of messages of, that they want this music to bring hope to others, to show others that no matter what situation you grew up in, you still have an opportunity to make something of yourself.
Leave the beef at the door, don't try to settle the score. I know we smoke 5, but still roll 1 more. The social club that these lames don't know about. This the Grandmaster, and welcome to the Smokehouse.
Another one I thought followed along those exact lines was Fast Life, because it kind of toned down a bit on, the let's get moving and grooving mood, and it just really slowed down and they spoke more on some of the more harder aspects to deal with life, but also at the same time how they cope with it and still manage to have fun talking about it.
You have kind of that dichotomy of pride versus humility in the Fast Life song, where the pride part is saying, you can never get lazy, get too comfortable, and people are going to come after you, so you got to keep working. But at the same time, every move you make is not going to be a W. Everything you do isn't going to be a win, but you got to make the most of every challenge, and every obstacle can make you stronger, or you can crumble by it, depending upon how you react.
Just kind of speaking on the album in general, I think the way that they present themselves, the way they put together their projects is just absolutely fucking ingenious because it kind of just feels like a full emotional ride throughout it. And
Absolutely.
When they're adding in their skits, like the Cypher skit, I don't know if that was available on the Spotify. It was on the YouTube. And the outro skit as well, leading into the final song, they're brilliant because it just adds some extra build-up. It shows that they're having fun and not just sitting at the studio all serious. They're having a good time with each other.
Who gon' really stick around once the smoke clear? This ain't no motherfucking game, don't say no jokes near. It's Smokehouse, you can't get in without an invitation. Money in that good weed, that's the destination. It's as simple as that. You don't agree, don't be surprised if you wind up in the back of the fucking V. Whether TV or DVD, you gon' see stars. If you gotta meet with the fist, then you gon' be gone.
When it comes to smoke, you know I'm chief and crazy, son. From Duchess to the raw papers.
This is a collective where the people are chosen for a particular reason. It's not just send in your track and let's see how it goes. These people all like each other. They know at least of each other, even if they don't know each other fully yet. And it's exciting to see what's going to come out of this.
I'm pretty excited too. I actually saw a video that they had posted a few months ago, I believe, on YouTube. And it was where they were outside of a show, I think they were doing, and they were kind of going over everybody that was there from the group. And one thing they specified that I really caught on to was that most of them are from different areas of New York. These aren't people that you would assume would know each other, but somehow they've come together to make something beautiful, like Smokehouse.
I think that might be how music is going to shift. More focused on collectives. We've seen a lot of just in Billboard Hot 100. We've seen a lot of artists sample other artists from the past or bring on other artists in the track itself for collaborations. Back in the time, the Jackson 5 and the Beach Boys, and even to a certain degree the Rolling Stones and to the Beatles, they all knew each other. They either went to school together, they grew up together, they're in the same family, they're friends. Whereas these guys, it's just like, hey, I don't care where you're from. I don't care if I know you or not. Show up. Do you make good music? Are you disciplined? Do you want to put a good product together? And that's the uniqueness about Kaleidoscope Records that could really make them stand out.
And I certainly do think they stand out. And actually, it brings to question, especially with the rap scene, there's always the groups, or for other genres, you have bands. But a lot of the time, in these past few, let's say, probably in the last decade or so, people have been more about, my personal fame and, my name and whatever. And I think it's actually kind of refreshing to see that people are coming back together to make something nice.
And the focus on me, it comes out of, Smokehouse Gospel. The line, I don't need to be famous. I just need my voice heard where it matters most and give my soul to the people as collateral. It's a great line, and it showcases exactly what you're saying, Acytone, that it's not about me, it's about us.
It's about growing together, and it's one of, I think, the best messages you can really get right now.
Grandmaster, the name been certified. Before I pen my truth, the pain I used to internalize. Now I wake up every day focused on the prize. Pizzeria shit, get dough and make the cheddar rise. I fantasize about them big stages, magazine front pages. No more slaving for those minimum wages. All the innocent brothers can get freed of them cages. I don't need to be famous,
Now, I wanted to ask you about the interview itself with Grandmaster Shogun. I've also obviously been through it, and I thought it was pretty great, personally. But I wanted to ask about your thoughts on it. How do you feel it went?
To be honest, going in, just full disclosure, I'm not the biggest guy on drugs and alcohol and all that. And so maybe I was expecting, something along the lines of just drug, that's all we want to do. But I was pleasantly surprised. I was hoping that there'd be a deeper message, and I was glad to hear when there was a deeper message. When Sho was mentioning, oh, I'm so glad you asked if there is a deeper message behind all of this, and he did mention that unity, that collectiveness. He brought up the West Coast, brought up Atlanta, brought up those music scenes that are united, that they're working together, and that the East Coast wasn't quite doing that. And so he was hoping that this collective, I think, did a threefold approach. One, creating more unity on the East Coast, up New England music. Two, sparked other collectives around the country. And three, got the members of Kaleidoscope Records back into community with things like, you'll hear in the interview, things like a dodgeball tournament, things like community engagement.
So, of course, you guys spoke about Kaleidoscope Records, the collective, but you also spoke about Grandmaster Shogun himself, or Sho. You know, he seems like he's definitely on the ball with trying to get shit done.
Yep.
And I think it translates really well into the collective, because you can see how much work they put in, how much effort. It's really good quality, all things considered. But what are your, opinions on him as his own artist, aside from the group? Because, like I said, you guys talked a little bit more one-on-one.
Well, they refer to him, or he refers to himself, I should say, as Grandmaster. And I think maybe before album coming out on October 21st, which, by the way, is his birthday gift to the world. I think maybe he wasn't exactly that Grandmaster. Maybe he was just like another rapper. But he told me this album was, authentic, personal, intentional, homegrown. It's just kind of words that you hear when artists are thinking more about, the deeper messages, the themes that they want to convey, as opposed to just maybe the lyrics that'll get them the most success or the most charts or what have you. And I think, with him describing how he used Shakur's classic, The Rose That Grew from Concrete, in his album, it really showed that this is true, that this is true to himself, and that he's going beyond just laying down some bars. He's thinking more about his, lyric choice. He's thinking more about his music. He's thinking more about, okay, who do I know that can help me in this particular aspect of the album the best? Mm-hmm. So I think that he made the leap now, and he convinced me that he truly is a grandmaster as far as rap hip-hop is concerned.
Glowing review, James.
Hey, I love the interview. Great conversation there.
Actually, I was about to ask you, so what are your personal highlights from the interview?
Well, I loved the tie-ins with Chris Bosh and Johnny Depp, kind of when seeing this new Smokehouse album. Like I said, I loved his take on his personal album, the unity, and just how fun he was at the end. When I did bring up the dodgeball tournament, his story about how in New York, in the city, nobody plays kids games anymore, and we went upstate for school for a while, and they were serious about dodgeball and kickball and things like that. And so, there's just such a complexity to Shogun that I really enjoyed getting to know on a little bit of a deeper aspect from just the very brief notes that I had going into the interview. Just that, not everything in life is supposed to be serious. I think as adults, you and I could probably both agree, at times we'd love to, put our work aside and go, beat each other up proverbially in a dodgeball game or a kickball game, and just reconnect with our elementary, middle school selves. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, play some Foursquare or something.
Yeah. That's what I took away, the highlights from the interview. It was just a really enjoyable conversation, just about getting to know Kaleidoscope better, getting to know Smokehouse better, getting to hear that the reputation for the album, the response from the album was mainly positive, and just I love the direction that they're going, and I think you can sense that in the interview.
Well, with all that effort and especially talent, I'm actually really surprised how little traction I see Kaleidoscope Records get online. Out of all the videos and live snippets I've seen, it seems like they have a much larger live following. But I'm just really surprised to see, say, the Smokehouse album, where some songs have like 30 to maybe 80 likes or something, and then some have 2.
Well, that's why we're here. right? This is episode 1 of Indie Talks. That's our whole goal is, everyone here at the Indie Bubble has some experience or a lot of experience with music. And we know when we hear good music, and it's doubled down by the fact when the artists come on our interviews and we talk with them and we can sense that, this is real for them. They're not just throwing stuff out there and seeing what happens. So I think that's our goal, right?
I believe so, yeah. That's what we're trying to do.
So yeah, we've asked him, we've talked about kind of the conversation, kind of the interview. We've given you some highlights as to what we think you should tune into for sure in the interview. But here's the interview in its full length. Give it a listen for yourself, and let us know on social media. Let us know on the Indie Bubble social media channels. We'll give you them at the end of the show on what you think is your favorite part of the interview.
Watch for evil, the devil's at my peephole. Niggas sinning daily, but I still pray for peace though. They live life illegal, all for the C-notes. For the green, you feed the black, the alpha blood like mosquitoes. Poisonous paragraph, slash your favorite rapper in half. And be the Grandmaster Shogun on the warpath. I cause a riot when I start to perform, slaying rappers in the physical and spiritual form. That's how I gotta be. It's my soul philosophy. The bars became infamous. Now I'm a prodigy.
Welcome to the Indie Bubbles Indie Interlude segment, where we're helping an artist pop one interview at a time, helping them get more mainstream appeal and get themselves out there. And again, it's our first Indie Interludes on the Indie Bubble, and we're pleased to be joined by Grandmaster Shogun with Kaleidoscope Records. And Show, first of all, thanks for being a part of this, and thanks for coming on with us today.
I appreciate you having me. Happy to be here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to start with Kaleidoscope Records. You guys kind of group yourselves as a super collective, if I understand that right, trying to kind of bridge the gap between New York, Long Island, New Jersey, and the music scenes there. Tell me about how that super collective came to be and why you chose to go that route.
Well, I've always appreciated working with groups, especially large groups of artists. Like, I've always found that to be really cool. Like, inspiration behind Kaleidoscope is when Dreamville did Revenge of the Dreamers 3, and that was like a huge endeavor. It was like so many different artists from all over the place. They had Chris Bosch come in as an executive producer. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought if I could bridge something like that together from all the different people that I've met from New Jersey, Long Island, the city, and even beyond that, because, I talk to artists outside of the tri-state area all the time. But I just wanted to bring together all those different, factions and different groups and whatnot and come together as one. So, we could do something great.
Yeah, you mentioned Chris Bosch. Is that the NBA legend all-star Chris Bosch? Or
yeah, he was, I think he literally has like some type of producer credit on that album, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he literally came in and it was just so crazy. There's a whole documentary about that album. And yeah, just watching that was kind of inspiring. Seeing how that large group was like, it was kind of chaotic, but in a like poetic and beautiful kind of way,
So you take that group and you kind of hone in on it and narrow it down however you choose the artist, and you produce this Smokehouse album, which getting a chance to listen to it, it's raw, it's edgy, it's blunt, it's got some cool things in it. And before I get to some of the specifics in it, what do you think about how the album turned out and how the reception's been so far?
Well, when we finished the album, we were really happy. I'm not going to lie, because before we dove deep into Smokehouse, we were kind of like just recording mixtapes. And so the album was our chance to test ourselves as like more than just rappers and singular artists, but more so as a collective unit. So putting it together, like recording it, I'm not going to lie, like that was the most intense at times, because we have such high expectations for ourselves. So yeah, recording it was definitely fun. But in the reception though was just even better, because I feel like we have been talking about it for so long, like that people were just kind of like expecting something to be like great. And we did a show maybe I want to say a couple weeks after, 2.5 weeks after the album came out. And a lot of people that came out were from like Long Island and like different parts of the city, and they were like really like vibing with the album. So I would say the reception has been great. The process was great. So definitely worth it.
There have been some cool components in that album. In addition to just featuring so many different voices, you've got sounds from a casino going in there. You got clips from movies in the background as well. Were those kinds of elements, were they spontaneous, or did you guys plan to have that interactivity?
No, so the thing about Smokehouse is that it was like an idea I had for like 3 years. Because originally I wanted it to be an event where basically like a whole bunch of artists get together and unite over our love of cannabis. And I was gonna make it like a network social type event. But then I seen this video on Vice about something called the Viper Room or Viper Lounge, something that Johnny Depp had in like the 90s. I was like almost like a secret club for young actors in Hollywood at that time, like a good way for them to like escape and get out the spotlight for a little bit. So I thought, like, why don't I just make Smokehouse an album, like an exclusive like smoking album, you know what I'm saying, a smoking club for artists. So I decided to do that. All the other stuff, I don't know, like when that idea happened, like the floodgates open, I just started like getting in depth with like who's gonna be there, like how do we get supplies and locations and all that type of stuff. I explained this story to like Bougie, the person who produced the album, and when I told him this, he was just like, okay, like let's do it. And then we just went from there.
You kind of allude to it in Smokehouse Rules, kind of laying down, the law of the land and saying,
Yeah.
okay, here's what we're going to tolerate, here's what we're not going to tolerate. What do you look for in an artist, and are you guys actively growing the collaboration, or do you have the artist you want right now?
Well, Kaleidoscope, we're in a really good place right now. Like our collective is at like 22 members, 23 members, but we're looking to expand maybe in the next 6 to 8 months or whatever the case may be. Not too many people are going to be added on, because I feel like what we have now is a really good formula because all of us balance each other out and all of us have built the rapport. But maybe within the next I want to say 6 to 7 months, we'll be looking to add maybe like 2, 3 new people.
Awesome. Getting back to the album itself, a couple of things that stood out to me that I noticed in the album. Just a couple of lines here in the Smokehouse intro. The line "motivation for the culture" really stood out to me. I also
Yeah.
vibed with the overall mention of hope, kind of a message of hope in the Smokehouse gospel. Kind of are those kinds of things that you want to go deeper in future albums, or is there a deeper message that you want to convey from this album?
A deeper message. Well, I really, it's good that you asked that because actually, yes, like there's actually a deeper message that we're trying, like I want to convey. Because for so long, the music scene in New York, like people say that New York can't be united, like a place like Atlanta, or even look at like California. The past 8 to 10 months, they have been kicking ass. You know what I'm saying? Like people like Tyler and Dodie and everybody that featured on Kendrick's album on GNX, they're really like blowing up. But the West is unified, and I feel like Smokehouse is our attempt at doing something like that, like unifying like the different parts of New York and unifying like Jersey and maybe even a place like Connecticut. And yeah, but I feel like that right there is the underlying theme, past all the weed references, past all the smoking stuff. Like, I feel like that is an important part. Like, people from different places within New York City and in Jersey and in Long Island, we came together and we unified to make this project. So, yeah.
I know when you talk about unity, it's probably more on the music scene as opposed to real life. But I'm sure you and I both know that we need a whole lot more unity around this country. There's a whole lot of division. Do you hope that your music can inspire some of that beyond the music scene to politics and other areas?
I don't want to like say like my music is like inspiration for political revolution. I mean, if someone finds inspiration like that, in my music, then more power to you. But I mean, me personally, I've never really made music to be political. You know what I'm saying? Like, I use my art for me to express myself, and then I can use my other resources to be like political or whatnot. I just feel like when you like mix the two, you put yourself in. I mean, it's good, but then at the same time, you put yourself in a certain spotlight that can attract unwarranted attention, and it's like, I don't want that type of unwarranted attention. But if I'm gonna do something like that, like I would want it to be, authentic, because I feel like some people go with, in theory, like the things they want to do, is like on point, but the execution is not there. And I'm really like meticulous about execution. So yeah.
Absolutely. Totally get that. And there's some other great opportunities to convey some more messages, other projects. I want to specifically ask about the Kaleidoscope Freestyles Volume 3 Underground Renaissance. Without giving too much away, what can listeners expect from this project?
Well, you know, like I said with Smokehouse, it's unity. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like with the title Underground Renaissance, it's like the beginning of something new within the underground scene of New York City. And it's like when we well, not when we finish, when we drop eventually, it'll be like, like wow, like these people, like they're all together, they're doing it, you know what I'm saying? Like this is gonna be like our fourth project together. And it's like, wow, like the work is gonna speak for itself. People are gonna see what we're doing, and then they're gonna be like, wow, this is what New York's supposed to be like. So that's what I'm hoping for. And I'm hoping that can inspire other people to do what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like other collectives popping up and shit like that, That's really what we want to do.
So you got this collective projects on one hand, and then on the other side, you've got a solo album actually dropping in October titled Even the Wicked Are Blessed. And you've released a couple of singles, including Heartfelt Letter, Triumph Over Tragedy. Can I tell me about this album and this project?
Well, this album is special because I feel like in the past, in terms of production, like I've been kind of like really lax. I just go on YouTube and just search up type beats. But I feel like this album is like everything is homegrown. Like everything that's been produced is produced by somebody I know. Like the intention behind a lot of the songs is really really authentic. And yeah, everything about it just resonates with me like deeply because I've like actually put my hands together and like, all right, this is what I want to do and directed traffic in terms of like what I want it to sound like. And I feel like this album also pushed me to be a better songwriter, because I feel like, I mean, I know I'm a good rapper, like not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but I feel like I really didn't have song structure down. So I feel like this album really is going to show that I'm really trying to work on bridges and hooks and things that get people like enticed to listen to the song more. So yeah, a lot of that has been thrown in this album. And in terms of like content and stuff like that, it's very personal. It's very reflective. And I kind of draw from a couple of literary like works. Like this one book, it's a Tupac book. It's called The Rose That Grew from Concrete. It's basically a book of poems, but the overall theme of the book is like, you can grow up in like a shitty environment, but still make something of yourself. And even the wicked are blessed kind of like shares that same sentiment. You know what I'm saying? Despite the trials and tribulations, you're blessed, you're here for a higher purpose and things of that nature. So a lot of those themes are going to resonate and, echo within each other.
Sounds like it's going to be an incredible album. Looking forward to listening to it myself when it comes out. Again, October 21st, I believe, of this year.
Yeah, that's my birthday, facts.
Picked a good day to drop an album here.
Yeah, facts. My birthday gift to the world. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome. You guys, back to Kaleidoscope Records, you guys have a lot more than just music. You want to get out in the community. You want to engage with your fans. And I understand you got a dodgeball tournament coming up. What's that all about?
So I don't like me personally. I've always told Kaleidoscope that like I like to have all my eggs in different baskets. It's just trying random stuff. And I was like, when I was a kid, like recess used to be fun. I don't know what prompted me to think about that one day. And I was like, when I was a kid, recess used to be fun. And I was like, I want to play some kickball. And then I was like, what are some other games I used to play? And then I was like, damn, when I was in ninth grade, because in ninth grade, I went to a school upstate, like mad white people. And like in the city, they stopped playing dodgeball when I was maybe in like, I don't know, like seventh or eighth grade or whatever. But I went upstate and they was like, that's like a serious thing up there. They had like a dodgeball tournament in my school. And I just thought about that. And I was like, holy shit, like I should do that now. You know what I'm saying? I should do that as like an adult. When I'm a grown man, all this rage built up. Now I got a chance to fucking get rid of it, But yeah, I wanted to do a dodgeball tournament, again, to unify, like, but this time different collectives, so other people like Kaleidoscope come in, bring their team, and then we all just fucking play dodgeball, you know what I'm saying? It'd be cool. But yeah.
Show, anything else that you want to mention about Kaleidoscope Records or any other projects you've got coming up?
Oh man, for Kaleidoscope Records, damn, I don't want to spill the beans too much, but I will say that we'll drop something before this year is out. Like we'll drop maybe like a, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 song EP or whatever, mixtape, whatever have you. Expect something to come out from Kaleidoscope like before this year is out. Um yeah, other than that, I got my album. I don't know who else is dropping. This is the perfect opportunity to shout out all my friends who are supposed to be dropping soon. But I think that out of Kaleidoscope, I can't tell you off the top of my head. But yeah, we have something coming before this year is out, and then sometime next year, Volume 3.
Fantastic. Lastly, where do our listeners connect with you? Social media channels, websites, music platforms. How do we get a hold of your music?
All right, I'm on all platforms. Grandmaster Shogun. I shouldn't have to spell that, but in case, Grandmaster and then Shogun, Shogun, on all platforms. Follow me on Instagram at grandmaster.shogun, and make sure you follow Kaleidoscope Records at kaleidoscope.records _ at the end. Other than that, I just need a gym, and yeah, that we're in business.
Awesome. Grandmaster Shogun with Kaleidoscope Records here on the Indie Bubbles, Indie Interludes section. We're trying to help artists pop to the mainstream, one interlude, one interview at a time. Grandmaster Shogun, thanks for the time, and look forward to hearing more of your music.
All right, thank you.
All right, guys, that was Grandmaster Shogun and our own James J. We hope you enjoyed our first episode of the Indie Bubble Talks. If you want to hear the full Smokehouse album or check out Kaleidoscope Records, make sure to hop on our site, theindiebubble.weebly.com, where you can find all the links you need to find them. And you can find our submission form to submit your own work for us to go over too. If you like what you hear, then be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, depending on your platform. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.